4, TKJ. Coming in, just fine.
KC4, BLL.
Okay, let's get right into the build. We've got a 3-element Yagi, real simple, tape measure, coax, piece of copper wire. These are the instructions that we followed. I don't know who came up with the design. It certainly wasn't the club, but we had pulled this off and they've been using this every year. Some of the tools you're going to need: Dremel, side cutters, pliers, wire strippers. You name it, if it has anything to do with building an antenna, you need it. And you're going to need a soldering iron. I'll be putting a list here on the screen so that you can see some of the materials that you're going to be needing. We do this every year. So this fella here, where we went and made up a jig. Those are the measurements, and that's what you need. I'll put a link in the description below so that you can get the instructions and get all the measurements. But we basically just laid the tape measures on the jigs and cut everything we needed. You know, you need your reflector and your director, and then you need your driver. That sounds like a lot of help. Reflector, director, and a driver. You want to make sure you mark the center of your reflector and director. Put you a couple marks, punch some holes so that you'll be able to run screws through to attach it to the boom itself. We took all the PVC, attached them to the fittings. And then we took some sheet metal screws, some self-tapping, and used those to screw into the PVC. And so you just end up assembling it. Your 11 3/4 inch piece and your 7 and whatever length that was piece go in the center, 2 5-inch pieces on each end. And once you get that all assembled, you'll want to take your drive element and take a Dremel tool and sand off all the paint. That's where you're going to be doing all your soldering. And as you can see here, that's what we punch the holes for, drive the screws through. But make sure when you put these elements on there that they're all centered. Okay, and yeah, just hold that tight. See how the mark for the tape in the center is centered on the actual fitting. That's what you're going to want to do. Now notice that this drive element has 2 holes punched through it. We're going to be screwing that down with 2 screws to keep that element from wiggling on you. Direction element goes on the longer side of the boom, and the drive in the center, only one right now. The other one will attach with a hose clamp later, so we can tune it. And there's your reflector on the back of the boom. You want to drill a hole because we're going to be shoving some coax through it. You'll want to get you probably about 5 feet is what I'm going to recommend. His was a little bit too short. You'll want to have a little bit hanging out the end so that when you go to attach it to the radio, you got a little bit of play. You can put the radio on your belt or in your pocket. At our fox hunt today, one fella had taken his radio and actually mounted it to the boom with Velcro, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know how it actually worked out, but I'm going to look into it. Little zip tie on the coax. You know, we drilled a hole in one of the end caps so that you could actually feed the coax through the hole. And so you just shove it right through that hole, run the cap up, and slide it on. Piece of cake. Easy peasy. Now we're going to be trimming the end of the coax. You want to go down far enough that you're going to have enough to spread across your left and right when soldering it to the drive. You can see we probably got about 2.5, 3 inches. It doesn't matter. Separate the insulator from the actual coax, and then take it and twist it up in a nice tight little wad there, because what we're going to end up doing is soldering those. We're going to take about, I guess I'd say probably 1/2 inch, just enough that you can solder it to the element itself. There you go, 1/4 inch. It'll work. And I'll show you here real quick. We're going to put the driver on the other side with a hose clamp. And of course that hose clamp can be tightened and loosened. So as you tune, which you won't need to tune, we did 10 of these and we had an SWR of about 1.25, 1.3. But if you need to, you can loosen that clamp up, slide the element in and out to get it tuned. Here we're going to be soldering the insulator and the coax to the drive element. One goes on one side, one goes on the other. Right here he's doing what you call tinning, and that's putting a little bit of solder on the end of the insulator. And then what we're going to end up doing is putting a little bit of solder on the element. And then once we get to that point, we're just going to take the insulator and place it on the drive element, and then take the soldering gun or iron and just place it on top and just let the solder melt itself together. Make sure you hold it, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds or so that you know, the solder has a chance to cool. And then you can let go and it ain't going nowhere. There you go. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Of course, if you only got 2 hands, you might want to do that. I mean, if you've got somebody helping you. Now, once you get all this soldered, you only got the 2 solder spots. We're going to be putting on what's called a hairpin. You need a 5-inch 12 gauge piece of wire bent in a horseshoe and about 3/4 of an inch gap. Now this here you will want to tin, okay, because you know it takes a lot more heat to heat up that size of a copper line than it does on the coax and the insulator. So you'll definitely want to tin that. But you can see, I mean, it's fairly simple. You just take your copper wire and make a horseshoe, bend it around, you know, find you something round, you know, that's about that size, about a 1/2 inch or whatever. Curve it around, and then you're going to solder that to each side of that drive element. We've got, we already got some solder on there, it looks like. But in case you needed the soldering lesson, this right here gives you a real good glimpse and kind of gives you an idea of what you need to do. You gotta make sure you hold that thing in place for a few seconds. Let that solder cool down, or you'll just keep fighting it the whole time. Now, to finish up the antenna, really, I can tell you this is simple to build. Now, my battery ran out when we got down to the end of this, but I'm going to try to explain it. And what you're going to do is you're going to trim that coax. That's a PL259 connector fitting. That's what screws onto the back of your HF. And then after you get that on and go to hook it to your handheld, you're going to need to get an adapter. I happen to have the Baofeng 9 VR Plus or something like that. And I had to get a SMA adapter for it. But you're going to need to trim the coax so that the wire will actually go to the end of the fitting. Now here we got probably about, I would guess about 2 inches, 2.5 inches. You can do 3, it doesn't matter because you can always snip off the ends. But we separated that line just like we did when we attached it to the drive element. And you're going to want to separate the insulator from that, and you're going to want to turn it, okay? Because what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up putting that piece of coax into the fitting until it comes out the end, and you're going to want to solder that in. Now, the actual insulator is going to get soldered to the base. And as soon as we get up here a little bit, you'll see exactly what I mean. You'll want to trim off. You're probably going to need to, you're going to need to do enough so that that wire is going to run up through the end of the fitting. Or you can go find a video on actually how to do this, because we're going to run out of battery here real soon. But you see how you twisted that, and you just take that wire and push it through. Come on. You want to make sure that the insulator wire, that's what he was trying to tell him, is the insulator wire is free and clear of the end of the coax. Here's a set of monkey fingers. So once you get, you can see right there, when it goes through the base, you fold the insulator back. I'm going to get back down there so we can see it. Fold the insulator back, and you want to kind of rough up that surface with a knife or a piece of sandpaper. Bend it back, and then solder it right there on the edge, and then trim your loose wire off of the coax or the insulator. So that's what it looks like when you're all done. You've got your insulator soldered to your base. You've got the fitting all screwed up on there nice and tight. You want to get your 259 ready to attach to your adapter. There's your SMA adapter, SO239. Plugs on to the PL259. Just tighten it up. And there you go. This antenna build is dedicated to Kat. She's one of our viewers on our Sunday live streams. And this video is especially for you, Kat. All right, so what we're going to do now, I got the antenna hooked up to my radio, my little Baofeng handheld. Cheap thing too. But anyway, let me go ahead and do a radio check real quick. See if I can hit that repeater, see if anybody's listening. Let's KK42KWs. Anybody listening? Can I get a radio chip?
Hey, Randy, this is K4 TKJ. Coming in just fine.
Well, that's mighty awesome. This little Baofeng 5-watt radio. I'm using the 3-element Yagi that we did for the antenna build, and just testing it out and making sure it's going to perform for tomorrow's spot time.
Out there.
Okay, well, you take care, and I appreciate the callback and the contact. It's KK4QKW, and we're going to clear out. All right, well, there you go. That repeater is probably about 15 miles away as the crow flies. Yeah, sounded like it did real good. Little 5-watt Baofeng radio, and my little 2 meter, whoa, back up, 2 meter, 3-element. That's where the 3 came from. Yagi antenna. And Cat, you can build one of these too.